Welcome everyone to the town hearing this evening. Thank you for coming out. If you all could please rise. Before we get started and before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd like to ask everyone here to please keep the family of our third selectman, George Sidlow, in your thoughts and in your prayers. And I'd like to have a brief moment of silence for him. Thank you. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I would like to now officially open with our notice of public hearing here at the Plainfield Town Hall, May 7th, 2018. In accordance with our town charter requirements, the Board of Finance will now hold a public hearing on the proposed budget for fiscal year 2018-2019 today, 7 p.m. here at the Town Hall. All electors of the town and eligible property owners who wish to be heard will be allowed to do so at this hearing. From the Board of Finance, myself, Tom Sienkiewicz, Chair. So at this time, now that the floor is open for our public hearing, just a couple things to note. You all should have gotten a copy, as I'm sure you saw on the back of the table there, of the supporting documents, particularly the budget. So please make sure you have a copy of that. What we're going to ask is that, of course, show by hands if you are interested in asking a question or making comments. You are certainly eligible to do so. Please raise your hand. I will call on you. As I call on you, please come up here to the microphone, speak into it, speak loudly so everybody can hear you, and also identify your name and your address so that that can be heard. So at this time, are there questions, comments? Yes.
Good evening. My name is Tina Mitchell. I'm a resident of Plainfield from 163 Black Hill Road. And my concern is not with any line item, but just residential tax increase. So I'm just going, because I want to just be as brief as I can, I just wrote it out, so I'm just read it. I'd like to express my deep concern about the proposed mill rate of 29.49. As a former assessor, I understand quite well how tax bills are arrived at, using the formula of assessment times mill rate to arrive at the grand levy. According to the assessor's office, the grand list increased by 5.5%. So in order for there to be no increase in the amount of money raised by taxes, the mill rate would have to be 28.36. However, the average residential assessment increased by 9%. So in order for the average residential homeowner not to experience a tax increase, the mill rate would have to go down to 27.22. We know that that's an impossible dream. But when I calculated my own personal tax bill based on your proposed mill rate of 29.49, I found that this year that I will have a tax increase of $692.74. And this represents a one-year increase of 14%. For a retired homeowner in your town. When speaking with the current assessor, I found that indeed 73% of all residential properties had an increase in their assessment. That means that 73% of us homeowners will have an increase in our tax bill. To complete my research, I looked up properties comparable to mine. I live in a ranch, and proposed mill rate of 29.49, all of them that I look at are going to have an increased tax burden. The range of this increase goes from around $200 to an increase in one property of $940. I know these are difficult times with state funding cuts and grants cuts, but I urge you, as the Board of Finance, to reconsider the proposed budget and try to find ways to make further cuts so that residential homeowners, as myself, who love the town of Plainfield and love our homes, will not experience this large increase in their taxes. In addition, I would urge any taxpayer who spoke to me to vote no to this proposed mill rate of 29.49. And I thank you for your attention. And just inside, I just did a historical study of my own property, and in 10 years, it's gone up 44.5%. So, I mean, that's a big increase. And this year alone, 14%. So please consider this when you do the budget. I know you're in a hard place.
Thank you. Other questions, comments? Yes, sir.
Hi. Robert Colley, Oregon. That was phenomenal. I actually said that a few weeks ago. I think I reiterated everything, but she was much better at it than I was a couple of weeks ago. So I hope you guys really pay attention to those numbers. I know that you are proposing the 29.49, and I just wanted to make it a little more simplistic. She took the words right out of my mouth, but you do realize 9% is the average increase, and I think, like she said, hers was 14%. My parents, who are also on Social Security, is at 14%. That's a lot. So just on average, just to give you an idea, it's a 2.26 mil difference. So we're equating that number to 2.26 mil increase. I just kind of want to let that settle in, because that's historically, I think, in this town, how did that ever go down? Do we ever pass a 2.26 mil increase? I know I've been here a long time. I don't think it's ever happened. We struggled last year with a 0.87 mil increase, and that was unprecedented, as they say, at times. So I just really, it's a big number. I understand that that's 70% of the homeowners, and I understand that, I don't know what the 30% is, if that's I understand some properties have decreased, but it's asking a lot. I want to ask the community if anybody knows of any specific numbers that the state has given. I know we always go into the budget and kind of look at, oh, we don't know what they're getting, we don't know how, are we still there? We are, okay. And I've said this for a million years, and I know and Paul used to tell me, we can't have, it defies common sense, but we try to come up with a budget. And I know it's hard for you guys, and you don't know specifics on the numbers, but yet our charter tells us it's what, the third week, or I think in May, okay. And I used to say this to Paul every time, why don't we have a meeting when we know the numbers? Well, for our charter, we can't do that. We're having a charter revision. I don't know if that was brought up. I know a lot of towns are also discussing the same problems. Food for thought. I'll just leave it at that. So that's, I can only imagine the struggle that you guys have to go through to come up with these numbers without knowing what you're getting. So that was the other thing. I'll call it the windfall, because I think that was the quote used in the paper, money, and that gets to the mill increase. And we're talking, I know that the fund balance took a hit because of the whole school situation and whatnot. I understand that. The windfall of I don't know where it's at now, 1.3 million now, was that with the tag, was that 1.5? I'm not sure. Is that going back into the fund balance? Was that what the priority was?
Yeah, any money that's not spent in the current budget goes back to the fund balance,
right.
As long as your revenues are met too.
Sure.
If you don't meet your revenues and you don't spend, you still have to offset the revenues that you lost.
Okay, and I understand that you want to, I don't know what rate, we're at 12%, we're at 15%.
Right now, 13.
We're at 13, okay. So, and here, it might be, like I said, maybe this is layman terms, I'm not, but if the increase of the mill rate, to get that amount of money, I mean, we have to make up that fund balance all in this one money route? Is this something that needs to be done right away? I mean, I know, like I said, the $1 million hit was a lot of money.
In the proposed budget, making up to the fund balance isn't in here.
Okay.
It's not even in the budget
So that extra $1 million, we'll call it,
that we use for this year's budget.
is that what this was? Was I'm assuming, I'm reading in the paper, but it sounds like because of the million, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Because of the revaluation, we'll call it for what it is, the extra money that we give to the town,
Yes.
which we haven't received yet because,
It's in your grant list.
okay, all right. But that's why I'm just wondering, because they keep it, like they titled it as a windfall, meaning to say it was above and beyond what we had or what we needed, but, so I just didn't know if that was the case. I know we're trying to replenish the fund balance. So I didn't know if that was, we're trying to solve that problem. I know it's a problem. Okay.
No, not even in the budget.
All right. The next thing is the budget vote. Are we having it, is it a machine ballot or is it at the town meeting?
At the town meeting.
We are.
Yeah, 20.
And is it because of the stipulation that we haven't raised the mill rate over $500,000 and therefore we are allowed to have it at a meeting? All right, because I mean, traditionally, when it's at a meeting, I mean, those are rules, I understand that. But this is not a $500,000 increase, it's a 2.26 mil increase. And I don't know if that's, I know we're talking, it's different verbiage, we'll say, but the bottom line is I'm equating, because we don't talk about mill rate, we love to say that we're lowering the mill rate. But, so that's why I'm trying to equate the money to the mill rates. So I don't know if that pertains to that, if we could decide to have it as a referendum with a machine ballot, which would be more, which would kind of be justified. It always seems to be that the town meeting is trying to be diplomatic, but it's kind of swayed in one direction. I mean, in the past, I know that, hey, it's perfectly legal, but a lot of times the word doesn't get out properly. People don't realize, they see that, wow, the mill rate is going down. You don't get the response, you don't get the people to show up. Most of the town employees, which they have every right, do show up, because they know, I don't blame them. But that was just food for thought. I don't know if that's a possibility of a machine vote on. Seems to be it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Lisa Tracus, 254 Cape Downing Road. I'm the town clerk. And I just wanted to clear that up. We did get an attorney's opinion last year of the budget process, which is 2-4B. And it says that if the mill rate does not increase or decreases, there shall be a town meeting. So I know that people get upset by that, but that's what our charter says. So that's what we have to follow. Thank you.
Louise, I have a question.
Yes.
Did you ask him that before the evaluation?
It doesn't say if your taxes increase, it says if your mill rate. So it's the way it's worded.
Did you ask the attorney before the evaluation?
Yes, we did ask before.
So he wasn't aware that the cost would go up, even though the mill rate went down.
Right, but he was very clear on the language in the charter. So if we wanted to change the process, we'd have to change that at charter revision.
I have a question though. But what if happens what happens last year and somebody gets a petition and they get enough signatures?
The petition, I mean, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not the first selectman, but in my experience and speaking with the town attorney, it would have to be declined. Because we don't take petitions on the budget process. Even though it's been done in the past, the town attorney has come through with an opinion that says we don't take petitions for the budget process.
So one last question then. So if it goes to a town meeting, does that mean somebody cannot come in and get an absentee ballot before the town meeting?
Yes, that's a state law. So if there's a town, right, first of all, a town meeting, there is no question until you call the town meeting to order and somebody motions the question onto the first selectman or the moderator. So you can't have an absentee ballot for something that you haven't motioned on yet. So at a town meeting, you have to be present at the meeting. And whether or not you vote by show of hands or by ballot or whatever, that's decided that night. I mean, in the past, we have prepared ballots ahead of time with the question that the Board of Finance gives us, so that if that question is motioned onto the meeting, we have the ballots ready. But of course, if it wasn't, that would change everything. But we're just always trying to be prepared. But yeah, I mean, that's
No, I get it.
you know, that's where the meeting is. And so there are a lot of people who can't come to a meeting at 7 o'clock. We all get that. But that is how this charter was written. And so if you want the charter changed, you have to change it. But until then, we have to follow the rules of the town. And that's what the rules of the town are. Thank you.
Next time. Yes.
Hi, Kevin Cunningham, Moose Pond Road. A couple of quick ones. One's a housekeeping one. Years ago, we used to have a, on the bottom of the town budget, the town total. So if you wouldn't mind considering to put that back in, it makes it easier to compare apples to apples. That's one thing, so housekeeping. Only a couple of little ones. The change from over the years, putting the pension onto just the town side of the town board of ed, why did that come about, and why would it not go back to being split to where it was before?
Well, I can tell you the history why it evolved to be on the town side. At one point in time, Board of Ed wasn't funding with their correct percentage. So we were going down with our funded pension. It was declining. So the town decided to take it over so we could make more accurate contributions. So that's why the town took it over. I can't speak as to why.
I know. I would prefer to go back to where it was, because they can still be accounted. That's not a problem. It's just a matter of, it makes it easier to, you know where it's coming from, because it's really putting it onto the town's budget, and it makes it more difficult for you to do other projects or other things. That's all, my opinion. All right. And two questions on one item here. On the back page, last page, it has the backhaul. You've got it in current budget, 80,000. You've got it at this year's budget, current, next year's proposed budget of 260. What's the actual cost? Is it cumulative? Is it actually 340? What is it going to be?
That all depends on what we put on it. If there's a drill that WPCA would be able to use, so it depends if we have that drill put on it or not. We don't have a total price. It has not gone out for bid, so those are approximate prices.
So that's the estimates. And again, I'll ask the question. Is it estimated at 260 or 340?
340.
Okay, that makes sense. Alrighty. And I know there were some things you wanted to put into the budget this year. I feel bad I couldn't do it, and one of them would be the police. I know how difficult that is. The other one would be economic developer. That was so much when I have both of those items in there. It really would, because the one thing hand in hand, if you have an economic developer, you know what it does. We're up against it. All the towns around us that have one, they're beating us. They're beating us really bad.
I understand that, but when it comes to laying off the employees that you have or bringing on, we have to be.
I do understand. I'll say it again, whether it's heard or not, that's fine, but I'll say it again. I proposed something for the transfer station, which we bring it back to our own. Ends up zeroing out that line item, and those monies can then be used for those other items like that. So if it can't be done this year, that's fine. I don't mind. We can sit down later on, we can kind of go and hash through it and see that it might be something a viable option for a couple of years from now or even next year. But I'd like to see that possibly. One of the items I just wanted to bring up, the 5-year capital plan. Now, I would pose a question to the Board of Finance Chair. What is your opinion of the 5-year capital plan? Because really, it means kind of nothing. You vote for a Board of Education budget, and you vote for a town budget. If one fails, you have to go back to the drawing board again. That's the usual way, because of the current charter. The 5-year capital plan really is what? What does it mean to you?
Well, what it means to me is that we're trying to plan ahead and set our goals as a town. But I know that going forward, it's going to be tough because, as we noted, it's hard for us to just come around one year, especially when we're uncertain on numbers from the state and just putting together a town budget and not sure, this time next year if we're going to have to cut more. So planning that many years ahead, I know it's tough for setting goals as a town. But I think it's worth at least trying, which of course is set in that proposed plan that we have.
Okay. My opinion about it is like that, but I think that it should have a little bit more weight to it. My opinion would be a full-time building committee to go through all these buildings to say, how much more can we get out of this particular building? Can we actually make it last by doing some maintenance? Can we not, and what's the actual plan? With that, the items that are on here are good, because you know what needs to be done, but then there's some things that just jump right out at you. If you take a look at it under the public works, looking at a paving, surfacing, treatment overlay, add those numbers over 5 years, you're $1.75 million. What is that for? What square footage does that cover? Does anybody know?
It's paving of the roads. I want to say one year I did paving of like maybe 13 roads, and it was like $682,000.
These are all roads?
Yeah, these are just estimates for paving of the roads, town roads.
All right, because you know what it looks like. It looks like it's up at the highway garage.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's paving of
See,
the
that's why
roads. Yeah.
I would also like more detail to this, because simply looking at it like this, you have no idea. You really don't. So it needs a little bit more detail. I think this could be really reworked to be more inclusive, and like I said, building committee would be helpful with that, because then you can get some detail to it. You have it all year long. So I appreciate your time, and I know it's going to be a difficult year, so you guys.
Thank you. Other questions, comments? Yes.
I'm very new to this, I'm not generally a participant. Tina Mitchell, 63 Blackwell Road. How will you, this is a hearing, and you are going to consider the budget again. How will you make known to people, like me, who's not very involved, what your new proposed millage is before the vote on the 21st?
Correct me if I'm wrong, I know we're going to go into our regular Board of Finance meeting afterwards, and our discussion then will be what we're going to go with, and then that has to be published. So then we have noted on our calendar, which has already been published as far as the deadlines of when that has to be released to the public, what we're going with for the 21st.
Yeah, how?
So-
Where? In the paper? Is it legal notice?
It's in the newspaper and posted on our website and in the town clerk's office.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, that's true. It'll be, our meeting that's immediately to follow this, obviously, the minutes will be published and it will be reflected in there, whatever we discuss.
The minutes will be on file in the town clerk's office. We'll tell you the actions that was taken by the board.
Thank you so much.
And those minutes are also posted online.
Other questions, comments? Yes?
Sorry, Kevin Cunningham, Musselman Road. One quick one. Just so the public would know, do you anticipate to do a pay raise for the first selectman? Because right now it's zero. And if you do have an idea, would you be willing to share that, or is that going to be done at your next meeting right after this?
I have requested a no pay raise.
I know we've done that in the past, and they said, too bad. Just so you know, but
I do not anticipate that being brought up for discussion.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Other questions, comments? Going once? Going twice? All right, very good. At this time, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing. All right, got a motion to close the hearing? Got a second? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. At this time, our public hearing is closed. We are now going to be moving into our Board of Finance meeting. So what I ask is that we will be staying here to conduct our Board of Finance meeting. If you would like to join us, please do. Please remain in your seats. Otherwise, if you will not be present for the meeting and would like to have side conversations, please exit back. And we will now move right into our meeting. Set is excused. Ted Dumaine? Here. John Cavella? Here. Gary Salomon? David Saros? Here. Scott Trout? Here. Scott, you of course have voting discussion rights. All right. Next item after roll call, number 2, acceptance of minutes from our April 18th, 2018 regular meeting. Discussion?
I have a correction to point out. It states in the minutes that I motion to set a town meeting to reduce the Board of Education fiscal year 2018 budget. I believe the appropriate wording of that would be I move to set a public hearing for that date.
Okay, so noted. Any other comments or discussion of our minutes? No? Okay, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes with that amendment that was just stated.
We accept the amendment.
Okay, second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, approval of the April 18th regular meeting minutes with the one amendment. Okay, item number 3, discuss and set our fiscal year 2018-2019 budget for May 21st, 7 o'clock, town meeting. So at this time, I'd like to ask for questions or comments from the Board of Finance.
Is it possible we can get an attorney's opinion on this referendum? I believe the intent was if any monies were going to be raised. And mill rate typically would do that, but in the fiscal year that we're having now, because of the reval, I believe that what they meant when they wrote that was an increase in dollars, not necessarily a mill rate, although a mill rate typically does that. But in the revaluation year, it may and probably will not. I think we need an attorney's opinion on that.
All right, because we have Kathy, our first selectman here, I would like to ask Kathy your thoughts.
We can request again, Ted, but he's not going to go against the wording that's in the charter. So it specifically says the mill rate. Yes, a mill rate does determine an increase in dollars.
I don't think that's what it meant when it was written.
Well, we're not here to interpret that. That's what the attorney is for, and the attorney already did interpret that for us.
But not knowing about a revaluation.
It's not going to change the wordage, though, that's in the charter, Ted. Whether it's a reevaluation or not, it does not change the wording.
It does change the amount of money.
It
and that's
does.
what I believe it means.
But we do have the opinion of the attorney. We can ask him again. But just remember, every time we contact the attorney, it costs money.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Any other thoughts from members of Board of Finance or on Ted's note that he just made there?
I just need to know what exactly makes up the 1.1 million tax increase. You know, so we obviously know there's a lack of funding from the state. There's the Board of Ed who wants an increase, but what are the other numbers that makes up that 1.1 million?
In current year, we lost over $2 million in the current year budget. We used fund balance, a grant, and Board of Ed reduced their expenditures. That made up the $2 million. Though now next year rolls around, in this budget right now, we just have 13 million for ECS, okay? The same number as last year. So we're still short that $1 million.
What will we do? Request the school cut back their budget by X dollars?
That's up to us.
Right.
You can answer that.
You know, we could do that.
Right, good.
I'm willing to do that. I think we need to cut $1 million out.
To bring the numbers down, you know, down.
Early on in this process, we said
And
no increase. I'm not sure if we meant mill or dollars, but I think it'll come out to the same. No increase.
right.
This is $1 million. $1 million is at least 1 mil. I'm all for cutting $1 million.
I'm of the same belief, because especially with it being a town meeting, and not everybody's gonna have a chance to voice their opinion. It's not gonna be fair to a lot of people. All those people who work second shift and can't make it, or, you know, I mean, I get out of work early to come here for these meetings, but it's not fair to all these people who can't make it. So we need to do our due diligence, and we need to cut the $1,886,000. Do it. So it's, at least get rid of that. To make it fair for those people who can't make it and voice their opinion.
Well, this is not easy by any means. We're in uncharted waters. We have no idea what the state is doing. We're trying to do the right thing for the town. Every one of us has worked hard on this. Probably one of the toughest decisions we'll ever have to make on this board. But it comes down to now, how much do we want to cut each program? It's not going to be easy, but I'd like to propose a $600,000 cut for the school department and a $400,000 cut for the town side. And whenever you want a motion, I'll make it.
I don't know, that seems a little off balance. You got more in the school down.
That's my proposal.
And I agree with that. That's pretty much the numbers I was thinking of myself.
Can I make that a motion? Discuss it.
25, 30, or second, we go another 60, 40. I think we can get more balanced if we do that way.
Balance which way?
If the school budget has 75% of the budget.
Okay.
That would be 25, 75, rather
Right.
than like a 60, 40 number.
I'm looking for the town to make more of a cut. What they're doing this year is taking in essence, the money that would go into the fund balance and diverting it into the budget. It's tantamount to taking money out of the fund balance. So they're really not cutting. They're just taking money out of the fund balance that's never had a chance to get there. That's how I come up with the 400,000.
If the mill rate goes down, if we agree to whatever decrease, you know, it will still be a vote right here. There will be no town vote where everybody goes in. It would still come down to the same situation that we would vote on because it's reduced, correct?
I don't know, I'd like to talk to our town attorney.
Because it's changing, but we're not raising it.
Play on words.
Well, no, I'm saying hypothetically, what you propose, say, okay, yes, so we reduce it down to 28 point, whatever, change, whatever it is. It would still be the same type of vote. Again, people who can't get here won't have a chance to vote. It would be a town meeting vote.
Yeah, not unless we can go to a referendum, right?
Right, and that's the problem right now. We couldn't do it if we wanted to right now.
This vote's
We wouldn't be able to do it 2 weeks from now.
This vote's never gonna go to a referendum if you go by the charter the way it says it.
Exactly.
Which is why the charter revision committee has to change all the language, because.
We're stuck in the same circle.
Right. It's bad language.
I think we've got a good argument for referendum. I can't believe anybody that made that first charter meant a mill. I think they meant dollars.
But you can't go on intent. You have to go on verbiage. I understand that. I know what you're saying.
It's not all black and white. It's not all black and white. There's a lot of shade in here. The fact of the matter is, I think any one of us sitting here is going to think the same way.
I'm on your side. I understand what you're saying.
It's money. We could care what the mill rate is. It's how many dollars I take out of my pocket. You call it any mill rate you want. It don't mean nothing. And I think that when it was written, that's what the intent was. Now, would our lawyer agree with me? I don't know.
If he says no, then we would be back to where we're at right now.
He's already given.
Right, he's already said no. I'm anticipating no.
I'll say it just once more. He's given his opinion, but not told that it was due to a revale.
It
He
doesn't
was
matter
asked his
if it's
opinion.
due to a reval or not, Ted, it does not change the wordage in the charter.
Well, I'd like to hear that from the attorney.
We then have to be prepared for the same situation, same result, same answer, or not. But if it's the same answer, we're still where we are right now.
Yep.
I agree with you. Listen, my taxes are going to go up too. I'm with you.
I'm going up 600, $50 a month. I think the thing that we're not doing right here is we're not putting enough emphasis on helping people that need help. We're putting emphasis on people who can pay taxes, to make them pay more taxes. I talked to a lady the other day, and I asked her how she did on her reval. Sad, but she wasn't sure what I was talking about. She's elderly. And I said, well, you might get a raise in taxes depending on your reval. Doesn't make much difference to me, Ted. They got me on a payment plan now. You know what? I'm going to die over this town taxes. Now, why ain't we working on something like that? She ain't the only lady out there with the same problem. There's a lot of people. They used to freeze taxes for people in certain situations. We don't do that. I don't know.
All right, so did we want to make it official as far as asking for an opinion again from the town attorney, which again, as Kathy noted, will cost money? We've had some discussion here. Do we want to make it official?
Yep.
Request that?
I do.
I'll second it.
Okay, so I entertain a motion. We have a second. All those in favor of asking our town attorney, again, to clarify this on the wording, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'd also like to
Okay.
have
All
a
right, so we
chairman.
got one opposed.
I'd like to have a chairman sit in on that personally.
Okay. So we had, again, one opposed, all the rest for, so motion carries to ask town attorney again to clarify that. Other discussion regarding the budget.
You ready for a motion?
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion.
More discussion. Are you two talking about the same number? You're at $1 million, we were at what?
Gotta make his motion.
Yeah.
I just say at 1.1 because we're at 1086. So I would tell you, I'd be honest with you, I would go 650 and 400.
The only reason I didn't want to go that way, in the event that I'm right, we couldn't go to a referendum if it was at 0. So we have to leave a little in there. I go 6 and 4, which leaves a few bucks in there, which indicates that we've raised the mill.
If you want to make the motion, go ahead.
I'll make
I'm
the
good either
motion
way,
to
as
take
long as we're getting close.
600 from the school department, 400 from the town.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. That was 600 from school, 400 from town. Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, 2 opposed. Motion carries. All right, other discussion? Okay, so for the record, we would have to note 28.44 mil. All right, any other questions, discussion? No? Okay, very good. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, thank you.